We're returning from closed session. Is there,
No action was taken.
okay. We're going to move on to our 6.14 item, our 4 o'clock item, which is A, consideration of an update from the Food Insecurity Ad Hoc Work Group, and B, approval of a local disaster declaration due to food insecurity, and C, approval of additional funding for hunger relief, and D, direction to staff. And we have our Social Services Director, Rachel Delman Parsons, here, and I will turn it over to her at this point.
Hello, board. I wasn't expecting to be up next to Matt. My program manager, Tara, just...
Mike, Rachel, Mike.
I'm not close enough, I think. My program manager, Tara Galandolfo, is here with me today for CalFresh. She is coming right back, so just give us a second. I'm going to jump on your Zoom as well so that I can share my slides screens. Okay. All right. So, joining as a panelist. Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and start my screen share. Okay, so as your board knows, a couple weeks ago, you formed the Food Instability Ad Hoc Work Group, and I have been the chair. There have been many wonderful and valuable partners to this ad hoc work group, and their names are all there. It's quite a long list. Supervisor Paiska and Supervisor Sabatier were both on that work group and very helpful, as were Matthew Rothstein and Trevor Muckle and Stephen Carter, and of course my lovely Tara Gandolfo, who is our CalFresh program manager. You all get special mentions. And again, there's many, many more helpful folks who assisted us in this time. So we're agenda items. I would like to withdraw the request for disaster declaration. At the time we submitted this agenda item to your board, the very last day to get it on regular agenda, the shutdown had not yet resolved, and litigation was still in process regarding November CalFresh fish benefits. That has since resolved. A disaster declaration is not going to bring us anything that we don't already have access to. I later learned in discussion with the CDSS food branch that the disaster branch's interpretation that a declaration would give us access to food boxes was incorrect for this kind of disaster. So no extra resources available. Are we okay with my withdrawing that? We're good with my withdrawing it?
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was more I needed to do. Okay, so what have we done in this ad hoc regarding food relief efforts? So as you know, this kind of kicked off when CalFresh benefits for November did not issue and were delayed. Your board approved $40,000 a week, $80,000 total, and our work group hit the ground running. That was approved on the 4th. We met on the 5th. And had funding through Redwood Empire Food Bank and ordered MREs by the 6th. So moved really quickly to get things in place to meet the needs of our community. The work group had initially thought to fund community partners in mass feeding efforts, but after having observed how popular and how in need food distributions were earlier that day at our food banks, we shifted our strategy when we met on the 5th to boosting food at our local food pantries. So of the $80,000, and I have more details, but $70,000 was allocated to Redwood Empire Food Bank to both boost our local food pantries as well as our food banks. MREs, meals ready to eat. Our allocation We decided to purchase $9,500 worth of those. And lastly, bus passes, $500 worth of those, the 10 punch bus passes, because we heard from many members of the public that although food distributions are available, they had difficulty getting to them. So I'll talk about these two first because they are a little less impactful. Now, MREs have been a struggle because the vendor still has not delivered them, although we ordered them on the 6th. So, yeah, it's wonderful. I think we're probably not the only one trying to get MREs. They were originally supposed to be delivered Monday the 10th. As of today, they are still not delivered. We ordered 2 different batches. One was ordered by admin, and then I also ordered 3 pallets. So admin ordered 2 pallets. I ordered 3 pallets. My admin fiscal deputy director right now is attempting to cancel our order so that we can purchase MREs from somewhere that will actually deliver them. So more to come on that. We have heard the public is looking forward to them. We discussed this with the ad hoc when we met yesterday, and we do want to move forward with getting them and making them available to the public. We just need to find a vendor who can make that happen. So thankfully the shutdown resolved. And more to come on that. And then the 10 punch bus passes were related to needing transportation, specifically around North Shore, because the distributions up there are once a month, and people have difficulty getting between the different sites. They do allow you to walk up as well as drive up. We verified that. Good. Okay. This is just a picture of one of the food distributions, the drive-up line. We're hearing from our partners, these are never before seen lengths. Many families are showing up well before the distributions begin to ensure they get food. This line has never spilled out onto Highway 20, and unfortunately not all families could be served. We have some data a little further on regarding what that looks like, so much as we can glean. That's what you're seeing. Okay. So Redwood Empire Food Bank, they have been a great partner. As soon as Tara reached out to them, they were ready to jump into action to help us out. We, like I said, had an agreement in place within 2 days of your board approving funding, and we focused on the local food pantries because we were trying to be mindful of what portion of the public was not being served, and they are trusted partners within our community that certain people may not feel comfortable going to the food distributions, whereas the food pantries may be more accessible to them, or perhaps more comfortable, or they prefer to go there. So trusted community partners. Redwood Empire Food Bank also boosted food bank distributions in our area as well. We felt they were uniquely qualified to fulfill this role because they are large, they have significant access to resources, and they were able to move very quickly. And they did include $20,000 pass on to our local food bank, the Clear Lake Gleaners. So here's what it looks like. What Redwood Empire Food Bank has delivered and will be delivering in week 2. So total 70,000, Clear Lake Gleaners 20,000, estimated total of 13.1 pallets. Week 1 delivery has already occurred. Week 2 delivery is anticipated on the 24th. Helping Hand, United Methodist Church, St. Peter's in Kelseyville, United Methodists in Middletown, Woodland College, Middletown Senior Center, United Christian Parish, Kelseyville Presbyterian, and Community Care Clear Lake were all specifically targeted with this funding. Redwood Empire Food Bank also boosted food available in the Lucerne, Nice, and Upper Lake distribution sites when we reached out to them later and said, hey, there's a need here.
Can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
So is Redwood Empire fronting the money? Because my understanding yesterday, we haven't paid.
Correct.
Okay.
They agreed to bill. They're big enough that they could do that, so we didn't have to worry about figuring out purchasing orders or that kind of stuff. So I prepared a letter of intent for them that says, we'll pay you if you agree to do this. And
Okay.
yeah, they will be billing us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So just some testimony from one of the partners who received funding from Redwood Empire Food Bank. I think Tara or her staff got this. Do you want to talk about it?
So, when we first talked to this church, we were just asking what they did and let them know, you know, if we were looking into anything, if we could get them any extra funding, would they do something? And he immediately said yes. And then the funding came through and he called us and he wanted to thank us and actually thank you guys for providing that to them because they were able to add a day next week and that they will be handing out 200 boxes and it's going to include canned veggies, cranberries, chicken legs, whole fryers. And he does say, please bring bags if you're coming. But he wanted to call and just say thank you because there's a huge need and he knew that and he didn't know how he was going to be able to get that. So he wanted to call and say thank you. So I think it's huge from them and from the public just to see what is happening and in the scale of what you guys have done. So thank you.
Yeah, so great direct impact right there. Okay, I talked about this already. I threw that out there. That was just the North Shore need. And also it's important to point out that what Redwood Empire Food Bank is able to bring up here to Lake County is all donation only supported. They are not our TFAP food bank, so they can't bring any of the state or federally funded foodstuffs up here to us. That is only the Gleaners. Okay, what has the Gleaners done? They've been very busy too, as well as their subcontracted TFAP sites. So the Findlay site is the Gleaners' main site, and then these other areas are through subcontractors. So the number served has significantly increased. I think they're close to double what they normally see. They do not currently have a mechanism to track how many families are turned away, but they agreed to try and do that moving forward. And in our feeding partners meetings, which are currently happening on Fridays, we look forward to receiving an update. We do have some estimated number of families that were unable to be served in a few of their distributions I think it was last week.
I'm surprised at the Findlay numbers.
It's their main.
That's where the main.
That's their main site. Yeah, that's where the Gleaners is located. So people from everywhere will come there because that's their main distribution.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
They did plan, when we talked to them, to serve about 600 on that day and had to scramble to get the other 193 bags together for people.
And still had to turn away.
And still had to turn people away. And I will also add, I was doing traffic that day and I had several cars stop and first of all, thank everybody for their time, for being out there in the cold and potential rain. But also, they came 2+ hours earlier than they normally do because they knew it was going to be a heavier request from everybody. And the line didn't stop, and it went all the way down their street and around the corner, and it just didn't stop.
What was that day on? What day was it?
That was Thursday the 7th, I want to say.
So it was just before the end of the shutdown?
Correct.
Okay, so people were worried.
And I think that one of the things that we also heard in there is that people in that line also were worried about being able to get distribution because they didn't either qualify for CalFresh because they have, like the one lady I talked to, she had Social Security and a pension, so she just made the cutoff. So this is supplemental for her, and she had concerns that she wasn't going to get anything.
A lot of need out there. A lot of need. Okay, so Gleaners is gearing up to do what they can to support families for Thanksgiving. Last information we had, they're preparing 888. I do not know how that number came about.
That came from Gleaners.
For the November 20th distribution. They said they did receive some from the motorcycle club. We were not able to get a specific number from them as to how many turkeys they received. So more to come on that, I hope. Social services, we are providing staff to help with bagging tomorrow and traffic control. Tara and her wonderful crew are doing that. You want to talk about that?
big shout out to the social services team, first of all, because on top of doing their regular jobs, they're going out and they're getting up early and directing traffic or providing assistance with the bagging, and then going back and doing their regular jobs. So when I asked who would like to do this, it's more how many people do they need, and not necessarily everybody had to go, but social services is very proud to help people feed in our area. So it's a big, huge shout out to social services for our team for doing it.
Yeah, to the staff. Not us. Okay, so in addition to the ad hoc, before the ad hoc even formed, I was trying to get everyone together, and I had called a feeding partners meeting, but to ensure everyone was available, it was a couple weeks out. So we launched a feeding partners meeting. We continued with that. Our first meeting was on the 7th, and we have continued to meet weekly on Fridays, and it has been a really great collaborative effort. I think it is a great thing for us to continue to do moving forward. I don't know that we'll need to meet weekly, but right now, while the need is increased, we've been meeting weekly, and the whole purpose of this partners group is to info share, identify resources. I know they're scarce, but knowing what everybody is doing out there just so that we can get people pointed in the right direction is helpful in the first place. So just a more collaborative environment for everybody who's trying to help the public out there with feeding insecurity. So there is a Thanksgiving meals list. We just got it posted on our Facebook page. I think there are currently 5 different places we're aware of providing Thanksgiving meals. If you become aware of any other resources, we're just asking the public to let us know. It's posted on our Facebook page, which is Lake County Social Services, California. What's going on with CalFresh? You probably already know by now, but with the end of the federal shutdown, November benefits have issued, December will issue as usual, and there is, the litigation has essentially been dropped. The continuing resolution included legislation that ensures CalFresh benefits will issue in case of another shutdown occurring after the continuing resolution expires. It also contains some kind of thing about potentially allowing states and counties to request reimbursement for efforts around CalFresh backfill. So I have asked CWDA Fiscal Committee for more information around that. I would love to pull down funding if we can. We have tracked my staff time, which is over 300 hours so far. And I do not have that information from any of our other departments, although I did give them the opportunity to provide that to me. So food insecurity does continue to linger in Lake County. It was present prior to the shutdown. We were seeing an increased trend in unemployment and consumer prices. The cost of food in particular went up 3.1% over the last year. And just for frame of reference, the Social Security cost of living adjustment was only 2.8%. So there is a residual effect, sorry. Finances have been disrupted. I have a couple stories from families in a moment here. The school meals are also a concern. We've heard from many people that free school meals are not available during the holidays. There's quite a lot of holidays in November and December where children will be without that resource. I think it's close to 3 weeks. And so food banks are continuing to see increased demands. I do not think the Gleaners believes they're going to be any slower on the 20th. I think they're gearing for it to be very, very busy. So I'll let Tara take the lead.
So these are from your survey that you did, and this is from a coach, I believe, I can't see. I was involved in youth football. A mother asked me if there was any way she could make payments to sign up her boys or pay at a later date due to the government shutdown. She was panic spending all of her cash aid. What I do want to point out is this was very common when we first were having the loss of CalFresh, was people figuring out what they were going to pay for and what they could use their CalFresh. CalFresh is supplemental just as the food banks and everything else are. And so if you're an individual and you qualify for the full benefit, it's only $292 a month. So could you imagine feeding yourself on $292 a month? It's not very much. So between the food banks and what everybody has experienced, I think that there is a lot of food insecurity happening. And I think that this just kind of pushed it over the edge for people. So So you want to do the next one?
Yes, this is the next one.
Oh, it is? I can't read it. Okay, you read it. 'cause
I'll
I
read
can't-
it.
It's hard for me to see.
Sorry, it's a
Need new
trick for
glasses.
Tara's vision test.
And I
Okay,
failed.
so this is from a different demographic. This is a person who is on Social Security and SSI, and she let us know that she has been in line at the food bank for hours over years. Lives on a fixed income, rent is expensive, and she says, when I have to rely on more coming out of my pocket, that means not turning on the heater so that I don't have to pay for heating. It means not picking up as many prescriptions so I don't have to pay the copay. It means trying to spend more on credit cards for food. So CalFresh and the food banks are a vital resource to her, and the current disruptions, have created difficulty.
So I have a couple more that are not on here. So I had one, again, I was doing the traffic in the line, so I had a lot of people that stopped and talked to us. One of them was a panicked mom that was sent away from, I want to say Nice or Upper Lake, I don't remember which site, that ran out of food, and she was in a panic because she was told to get there by 10 o'clock after waiting that entire time in the other location and not getting food. So they were able to help her, but I think that that's also something that's happening, right, where they wait in line for a couple hours and then they're told no and then rush over to Findlay to get food. And she said without that support, she wouldn't be able to feed her family for the month. And that is not even including what she gets for CalFresh. It's just that extra that she gets from them. And then I had a elderly couple call because they had heard about the MREs, and they were one of the ones who didn't qualify for CalFresh because of what they got, and they heard that the MREs were there and that they could put that in because they take turns on what days they get to eat because they don't have enough food in their household for all the bills that they pay. So this distribution that we're upping, and I explained to her where they were close to her, and she's going to be there early on Thursday to make sure that she's in line in time. But breaks my heart to do that. That's kind of why I'm in CalFresh, right, is to help people and to hear her and her husband are trading off which meals that they're eating. I know that that's not just their family. That happens a lot around our lake. So again, it points out how grateful people are for that extra food that you guys have provided to them. So I just wanted to point out a couple of those things.
Thank you, Tara. Gonna make me cry, Tara.
Sorry.
Okay, so that leads us to discussion of temporary additional funding. The recommendation is mostly around the holidays, just related to the disruptions that the delay in CalFresh has caused, and there's a bit of a economic crunch on people right now. So the recommendation was $20,000 a week for the next 3 weeks to be discussed at your Board of Soups December 9th. Totally, up for your discussion. The recommendation in total would be no longer than December 31st to provide this temporary additional funding, totally recognizing that it has to be temporary because the county doesn't have unlimited funding. But doing a little extra for the community during the holidays would be nice if you have the ability to do it. There's certainly needs within our community. So I'll turn it over to you.
Anything from the board for discussion before we open it?
I don't know that it was expressed, but I think the decision that was made to go through the Redwood Empire Food Bank, I think really multiplied the potential of the dollars that were provided from the Board of Supervisors, rather than like we had talked about in that first meeting, which was possibly looking at gift cards, which wasn't necessarily with the direction we wanted to go, but that would have acquired a whole lot less and helped a whole lot less people. So I think the process in which was chosen by the group was the right way to go. I met with a Cal OES. I had a phone call with a Cal OES individual who took part in the Friday meetings, giving us kudos for just working the system in the right ways. Unfortunately, we've had all the experience in the world, and we're behaving like there is an emergency, there is a fire, and we know how to come together. So just wanted to pass that along, that Cal OES, even though there is nothing they can do, because this was a social services situation, they were pretty impressed with the way that Lake County was able to come together. As far as the ask, I think that the stories you tell are not unique stories where people already spent the cash, what liquid they have on them or in their bank accounts, and that at the very least for this rest of the month that we need to make sure that we could recalibrate a system that made people make either bad decisions or the best decisions they could during that time period, right? Because there was really no knowing that this was going to end when it ended, and I'm glad that it did.
Yeah.
And even though I know it says that until September of next year, it has been budgeted for SNAP benefits,
Yes.
that does not mean in January 31st, when we're going to hit another shutdown, that there may not be some more politics being played that may pause or
Right.
prohibit, because we never got a full Supreme Court response to that, which again might lead to that. So I just think we need to be prepared, because we know January 31st, it's probably going to happen again.
You never know, and that's one benefit of being both a smallish organization and having a lot of disaster experience is we pivot very quickly, so that's good news.
And I think the MREs are great, even though they haven't gotten here. I think it will be good to have them on hand. I know that I mentioned that we should be tracking them. You said you are tracking them, and that's to make sure we always have at least a base amount, no matter what random emergency comes through. So again, kudos. Thank you very much for everything that you've done, all the other partners that were at the table, Supervisor Pyska as well. And I think that we continue with the $20,000 and come back on December 9th.
Supervisor Pyska?
Yeah, we just, as it's been stated, there's residual effects to these events in people's lives, and recovery is not instantaneous, and we are in a really difficult time with school holidays. So this is a $60,000 ask.
Grand total, yes, $20,000 per week for 3 weeks through December 3rd, or December 9th, I'm sorry, I can't.
And so where is that money coming from?
Yeah.
Poof.
So the prior 80,000 we were going to pull from the general fund special projects. We were just going to budget transfer away from current contract amounts that we will replenish during mid-year. We would do the same thing for this transaction. We do currently have multiple contracts in that budget unit that will have enough extra at least to wait until mid-year to be replenished.
Okay. I mean, I think we've got to do this.
So that was going to be my question about the finances. Any other questions from board members? We'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Is there anyone in the room? We have Margot Kambara. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, board and staff. Thank you for your foresight and anticipating unmet need and taking a very human response to our neighbors. Among our food insecure neighbors are those with immigration issues. It would be helpful for the ad hoc committee to remind partners that some neighbors with immigration issues do not feel safe picking up food supplies. Measures that partners can take to keep neighbors safe are appreciated. Measures such as identifying private or employee-only spaces at food distribution sites would go a long way. And as far as our youngest neighbors, last I heard, the Department of Education, California, was asking for permission to feed kids during the holidays when a lot of the school lunch programs and breakfast programs are closed. I didn't hear what the ruling was. I know that was contentious on the federal level. But anyway, I applaud your efforts and thank you so much for looking out for our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. Anyone else in the room? Johanna, do we have any hands online? No hands online. I'll go ahead and close public comment and bring it back to the board. And it looks like the withdraw on the declaration, so I'd look for a motion on item C, it looks like.
Yes, see, I move that we approve the additional funding for hunger relief of $60,000.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries 4-0. And can I get a copy of the slide that showed where that
Yeah.
money was going?
Yeah, I'll send it to the entire board.
And
Thank you.
Rachel, you and your team are total rock stars. Tara, thank you so much for all the long hours and for all the partners that have been coming together. It's really,
Thank you for your support too.
really
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
You guys are also amazing in what you're doing, and I think it's pretty phenomenal, so thank you guys.
Okay, with that, I want to advise that we're going to continue two consent items that were pulled, 5.8 and 5.9, to a future date and time unknown at this point. And then I'm going to move on to our 7.5 item. And that would be Director Ewing. Is he available? He's online. So Director Ewing, I believe you're online. If we can get you there, I'll turn this over to you for item 7.5, consideration of resolution, amending resolution number 2001-73, establishing an underground utilities district for the South Main Street and Soda Bay Road area.
All right. Good afternoon. Lars Ewing, Public Works Director. Apologize for the lighting, but you see half of me at least. Earlier today, your board received a brief update on South Main Soda Bay Road, so I won't go into detail there. But what is up for your board's consideration is an alteration to the existing underground utility district for the South Main Street and Soda Bay Road Corridor Improvement Project. Back in 2001, the Board of Supervisors formed the underground district that requires all of the overhead utilities to be placed underground. The project has progressed over 24 years, and we are nearing the end. We've identified two specific locations that have some complications that staff and consultants to the county as well feel that it is in the county's interest and the public's interest to leave. The one location has cultural concerns that we feel would be in the county's interest to avoid the area. The other, the property has been developed to the extent that a good amount of infrastructure exists where the underground utility was going to be placed. And if to avoid that infrastructure would require an alteration to right-of-way, which would delay other components of the project to secure construction funding. So it would delay the right-of-way process. So the request is to approve a new resolution that modifies the former resolution to allow for the two exceptions. And there is an exhibit, albeit they may be somewhat challenging to interpret, but there are exhibits that show those locations. So I'll end it there and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Ewing. Do we have any questions from the board at this point? We're all good. I'm going to go ahead and open it to the public. Is there anyone in the room? Seeing none. Johanna, are there any hands online? No hands online. I'll go ahead and close public comment. Someone want to make a motion?
I was going to ask if it was possible to make a motion for you. I offer the
Yes.
resolution.
Supervisor Owen,
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Rasmussen.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing. Any suggestion? Now that I'm going to move to 7.4. And our 7.4 item is consideration of amendment between the County of Lake and Clifton Larson Allen LLP for accounting and advisory services, an increase of $290,000, total compensation not to exceed $350,000. And we have our Auditor Controller, Genevieve Harrington, here.
Just to clarify, it's an increase of 200,000. But
Sorry, my
It's late. It's late.
I know. I just wanted to, I already knew that, I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about the same dollar amount. And just as a reminder, when I was here last time, for the small amount that was going to cover the 24-25 fiscal year, and I mentioned that that I needed to come back for an amendment that would cover the whole, the rest of the project, and that's what this is. So there isn't a whole lot to say unless you have any questions on it.
Thank you. Any Supervisor Sabatier?
I was uncomfortable last time. I continue to be uncomfortable. I know that this is probably an amendment submitted to us by CLA. I just, I am concerned about a conflict that our auditors who do our single audit, who do our main audit, are helping us to set up our systems so we can pass an audit, in a sense. And I just see that as being a conflict, and we're paying $7 million for this software overall in the long run, and I just think the software company should be the one held accountable to ensure that we're properly set up. So this is not the only contract that's on the side of the $7 million installation of our accounting software. It is important that we have our accounting software, but this number is getting too high for me to be comfortable and continue moving forward. So I spoke to this last time, and today I can't say yes.
To clarify, the $6.5 million you're talking about is 10 years of software, the annual payment for the software. Yes. And this right here, CLA has been very careful. We're working with an outside consultant. They contract with them, but for continuity, it seemed advisable to take this path, and all measures have been taken. There's no conflict of interest. The external auditors wouldn't allow that. So she is only allowed to help. She's not allowed to manage anything. She's just allowed to oversee and help in the proper capacity. So, and this is what, again, it's the same work she's been doing, and we've anticipated this need the entire time. Just for whatever reason, I was asked to break it into a small piece and a bigger piece. So, but I hear your concern. I don't know of a software company that would meet that expectation, to be fair.
Any other comments from supervisors? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and open it to the public. Is there anyone in the room? Seeing none, Johanna, anyone online? I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we approve the amendment between the County of Lake and Clifton Larson Allen LLP for accounting and advisory services, an increase of $200,000 for total compensation not to exceed $350,000, and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Well,
Seeing no other.
are you not seconding it?
I'm not seconding it.
So, may I?
Yeah.
What is the consequence of not signing this contract?
It really puts everything at a halt. I'll likely have invoices that we can't pay. Yeah, it just stops everything right in the middle. That's why I wanted to just do the amendment for the entire project term.
So in other words,
this is detrimental, so I'm not sure what to do at this point.
well, because it's not going to pass at this point, so it doesn't look like, it sounds like you would have to bring something back.
Just a favor. Can this be put back on the December 2nd? No, sorry, we're not here.
Ninth.
December 9th meeting with an explanation of all the contracts and everything that's happening with this software, because it is a very...
Now, the other contracts are like 20,000 and 20,000. They're very specific.
I think we need to hear and talk about all the contracts, because I don't believe this started out as an RFP. I think this started out as a small, it's increased past, and now we're up to 350. Am I correct on that?
This one is an existing vendor. And so, no, so this one, we chose to use our existing vendor for the
So
continuity.
we didn't go through the RFP process. We started out...
That was presented to the board. So
Yeah.
that was, if the board at that point had said, no, we want to do an RFP, then we would have pivoted at that point, but we all understood that this was the best path forward at the time.
I would like to have a large conversation about the entirety of what this project is taking and all the contracts that are involved with putting this project together.
do we have to halt the project in order to do that? I mean, because at this point, I've been trying to get this back for a while now. This has been going on since May. I had to redo it twice. And again, it was the same thing I needed the whole time.
At this moment, I am
Okay.
uncomfortable until December 9th, and then at that point, we'll see what we all say.
My issue is that we're paying more in consulting fees than we did for the program. It had 200,000, you're asking for an additional 200,000, bringing it to a total of 350, correct?
350, yes, the
So the-
total from, I think, February of 25 through August of 26, so through the whole, like a year and a half. And so we needed a few months of the project to see what the estimates would be. So then as soon as I had the few months, that was back in May, I had created the estimate, and it hasn't changed since.
What is the work that's going to be stopped from now until?
Well, I mean, at this point, because she's been helping with some of the project testing this week, and so we won't be able to pay for what's happened this week, and then I have to go figure that out.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So sounds like we were not going to take action and request that you have that on the December 9th agenda? Would be a direction to staff at this point? Unless you have anything further, Lloyd.
No, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So what stands at this point is that there was a motion, but effectively it's not seconded, so.
Yeah, so I think that's where we're at. We'll have it placed on the December 9th agenda. Yes, please.
Supervisor Owen, when you were talking about the contract, you said that it was more than the software?
It looked to
It
me.
is not more than the software.
Not at all. I don't know where the.
Not even
No,
close.
what I was looking at, I was on the understanding that the total,
That's
not
this
to exceed-
contract itself.
okay,
So this is, what you're seeing there is just the CLA contract to help us, and no, I'm not fighting for or against it, there's information at this point. The CLA contract is just a side-by-side to where they're helping us set up the software properly to install. The software itself is over $2.5 million.
I see.
So-
And that wasn't on here, and that was probably before I was on the board.
And that's what Supervisor Sabate is kind of wondering when the December 9th is kind of all that information in one basket to see what it all is.
I see. Okay. And I wasn't privy to all of that.
Well, and if I had known that information was going to be asked, because when I had said I was going to come back for the remainder, I would have done that.
And then
I
is
just
there
didn't know.
additional needed after it expires?
No, so like I said, the estimate, my plan is that this would take us to the end. And if all goes well, I'll have a little bit left. I'm hoping to not use it all, but I also don't want to have to come back and ask for another amendment. So the plan was to just have this cover through, our go live is July 1, so I assumed by August we shouldn't need this anymore. But this is a tremendous amount of work. We couldn't hire additional staff. So the way we handled it was we have one consultant, and then we have another very small consultant who was specifically only helping with ACFR, and then another consultant who is specifically helping with scanning. It's kind of part of the project, but it's also part of us going away from paper. So those are the three contracts. And I know we can go into detail later, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. Those are the three: a very small consultant helping with ACFR, a small one helping with scanning. This is the main consultant.
Supervisor Pyska?
And so again, we have a consultant that's working and we're not going to pay them.
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like.
Any other thoughts from the board before?
No, I didn't know enough about it. I wasn't here when it first came forward, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and support it.
Okay, so we
Are
have
you a second?
there is a
I'll second.
motion.
Okay.
So withdraw my second. We now have a second from Supervisor Owen, so I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 3-1.
Still happy to bring back that information, but at least I can pay the vendor now. Thank you.
Please, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Suggestion? Mariah? Okay. I'm going to call item 7.6, which was an addendum, consideration of a resolution authorizing a short-term loan in the amount of $390,000 to the Community Development Department, Building Division. And we have our Community Development Director, Maria Turner, and Assistant Director, Shannon Walker-Smith. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. The item you have before you is an addendum. Thanks, Johanna, for getting that added to the agenda. It's a draft resolution requesting a short-term loan. The Building Division has realized a significant drop in building permits. Not just the type, but also, or not just the number, but also the type of permits. We're still really busy with smaller permits, not so much the larger ones. The table distributed to you earlier shows the drop in 2024. We are starting to recover in 2025. So we have been not filling positions if we didn't absolutely need them. We've distributed job tasks as positions have become vacant rather than fill them. We are requesting this temporary loan because the increase in wages has made it necessary to address this prior to mid-year budget. We do anticipate a return to historic norms of permitting in the future, and are confident that we will be able to repay this loan within the fiscal year. Additionally, we do have code officers and inspectors that are out there actively tagging unpermitted construction, and we are working with our citations and violations and things like that. But anyway, we are working where we can to make sure that our development is done with permits and done safely, and are asking for this bridge loan to take us through the next 3 months. I also, excuse me, golly, it's the second week. I have Deputy Administrator Shannon Walker-Smith here to sort of walk us through the repayment process. Oh, also, and Casey from Admin Office, we've been working closely with the Administrative Office to resolve this issue.
I do have an additional handout I can provide. I know Supervisor Sabatier had some questions about the numbers that were provided in the memo. So I've developed an additional spreadsheet to look at if that would be helpful, but the bottom line is that salaries are up from last year, from when we proposed our budget, that our salaries overall have not exceeded what we expected at this point, but salaries and expenses combined, and then the loss of revenue has left us, we're just barely in the black as we speak. So we're looking for this loan to ensure that we can cover salaries over the next 3 months, but permit revenue will continue to come in. In past years, we've seen basically 1/3 of our revenue in the first half of the year and 2/3 in the second half, and that's kind of a trend. So we expect that we will be able to recover significantly. We do recognize that we're looking at probably a revenue shortfall for this fiscal year overall, and we anticipated that with the salary increases that we would have to make a significant adjustment at mid-year, which we have in progress and are currently working on that mid-year budget adjustment. I can hand this out or not, or answer questions, whatever you prefer.
What we have here.
I have an updated one from that one that is a little bit more, has a little more detail.
Could we have that, please?
Actually, let me keep one. I always
Was-
do that, hand
Was
them all
there
out.
anything further on the presentation?
That's all in the presentation.
Thank you.
Then at this point, bring it to the board for any questions or comments. I do want to be clear that for this resolution to pass is going to require a unanimous vote of the supervisors here today. Just so that's out there as a reminder.
He's got it by now.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. I apologize.
Can you please explain what other expenses mean? Does that mean the benefit package that comes along with the, because salary I know just is what people got paid. It's not their PERS, it's not their health care. I know that from looking up the numbers myself.
The salaries line is all inclusive of those things, and other expenses are things, everything from like the our share of public liability that we owe back to admin, our open gov expenses, so just general division expenses that have occurred so far this fiscal year. We are pretty much on a spending freeze now, except anything that is dire, as we work towards our mid-year adjustment.
So those are operating costs?
Operating costs, correct.
So I am going to push back a little bit.
Sure.
The salary increases only added up to $54,000 for the entire year. In addition, we've only had 3 or 4 months, so I don't see that as that fluff should have easily been part of the budget, should have been part of the budget. I also have grave concerns on your plan to pay back. Your plan to pay back is based on services that have yet to be provided, but I thought I approved rates on services that were provided where we're not allowed to make money off those rates, which means how are you going to pay back services already rendered with new services that should only pay for the services that are rendered? I'm struggling to understand how that works, because it shouldn't work like that. And if we're planning to do that, I think we need to review that with our county council, if that's an appropriate way to do that. Yes, there's always a little bit of fluff involved in our fees to ensure that it pays for the time that staff spends. But to pay back almost $400,000 off the backs of other services doesn't sit well with me. So I'm looking for, do we have any other options on how to ensure that we're going to get paid back? Because I'm not certain that that will happen, and hoping that maybe our CAO office has other opportunities and thoughts on what can be done. Obviously, from what I understand, you have less than $20,000 left currently. You have a payroll to pay in about 2 weeks. So the answer is not no, but the answer is not what I'm seeing in the memo, because I'm really concerned that that is not the answer that will solve the problem of the loan. And so I would like to have a better plan to ensure that we can make you solvent and also make sure that it gets paid back.
Supervisor Pyska?
I share these concerns as well. And I mean, obviously we have to do this, but I don't see how we're gonna get paid back either. I did have a conversation with admin about what extra oversight we're gonna have to require to get through this, because it's needed, unfortunately. And so, Stephen, can you share some of or Casey, kind of what this oversight's gonna look like?
Hi, Casey Murno, Deputy County Administrative Officer. So if it is approved today, then we would like to propose admin having full signature authority over the Community Development Department, which would not just be for building, but for all of their budgets, to ensure that everything is moving the way it should be, as well as transfers are happening between them until the money is paid back or we've reached an agreement to let it be. Also, we want to have monthly or bi-monthly budget meetings with them in order to get them back on track. And currently there is no overtime that has been spent in the budget, but we want to ensure that no overtime is spent.
Is there anything else, Stephen? I think, was it a colored paper?
Should have been.
Bright red would have been easy.
I know you showed me something, and I cannot remember what was on it. there was something else. I mean, I don't, maybe if we can't figure this out, I think it's okay. But I think we probably all agree that there needs to be some pretty rigid oversight going forward now.
I fully agree, and I don't know if that means coming back December 9th and letting us know what the plan is. But that I feel the need for a more robust plan than what's in front of us.
You guys covered what a lot of my concerns were, but just for the record, the resolution has it being paid back at the end of the fiscal year, which I don't think is realistically something that we should have there. I think that needs to be considered too, because I don't know if we're going to get it paid back by June 30th, and that's what's in the resolution.
And also, I'm worried about the legalities of it, of the collection, as Supervisor Sabatier had pointed out at the beginning.
If I could add a little clarification for that. Historically, when the permits have been at higher levels, we don't just charge fees until we've made our expenses for the year. So historically, when we do have more permit fees than we have expenses, we've been able to feed funding into reserves. So I'm not concerned as much. I'm not really understanding the legality issue. I don't think it'll be illegal if once our permit activity goes back to its norm, that we will be able to cover our expenses as well as pay back the loan.
Well, the reserves are obviously, there aren't any, correct?
78,000.
Right.
78,000?
Right, and that is because the reserves were at an excessive level, and so we had been sort of moving them down. We just weren't counting on this collection of criteria that have led us to this point.
Go ahead, Supervisor Sabatier.
I want to have a deeper conversation. Today's already been very long. I am not willing to let people go right now on December 1st. That is not an option. You have to pay the folks that have been working here, and we need to have a robust plan. The resolution does say till the end of the fiscal year, and I will not be going further than the fiscal year. We have to figure out a way to make sure that the department is solvent. Whether or not there's ebbs and flows through, we got to figure out how to make that work. I feel this is, I want the December 9th conversation. I think there's some reserves that can be used to help. There's some potential, there's $78,000 right now. It's gone.
So their
That was
cash
as of
position-
July 1st. I apologize.
So as of July 1st, they had reserves of 78,000, but with their cash position of
Don't
where
we
it's
have to
at,
approve reserves coming out of reserves?
it's allowed to be used as cash flow until the end, June 30th, to where you need to have at least that much in cash in your account to be at zero. So with their account, it's at 28,000 now, not 18. But
Gotcha.
with their cash being 28,000, they're technically negative 40 grand because of not having enough cash to fund said reserves. So no.
And I think in the long run, I think it's a learning moment, not for the department, but for us. There has to be some flags that if we meet a certain criteria of going down towards being in the negatives, that we have to take certain actions before this. So I hope that we can create a learning moment from this and have a deeper conversation.
Okay, still need public comment. Is there anything further before
Yeah,
we bring it back?
I found
Yes,
I
go
found
ahead.
that list.
Oh.
It was,
Go ahead.
It was the hiring freeze and no major equipment and training and travel are halted until, which is all pretty standard, honestly.
Okay. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and open it to the public. We have Mr. Tom Lasik. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. I really enjoy the discussion about this. I understand the dilemma that Director Turner's in, but I'm a little bit confused, and I think that's starting to manifest itself in the conversation here. At the beginning, there was, I have high confidence that I'm going to be able to pay this back. I don't know what the basis of that confidence is, and it becomes apparent that we're not even clear how it's going to get paid back, if at all. I do think that the oversight that was recommended is standard practice. I think that needs to happen. But I think there are just too many unanswered questions to say, yeah, I can pay it back. But when you ask, how are you going to pay it back? If you can't answer that, then that should at least be a pause to come back and, gather the information so that you can make an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room? And we have Margot Kambara. You'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, Board. I appreciate your fiscal responsibility in asking for more details, asking for more questions, and asking for a solid plan for repayment and how to get the department on solid footing. I would also request that the updated spreadsheet that was made available to your board also be shared with the public. So however makes the most sense, perhaps posting that on Granicus with today's agenda item materials, that would be one easy way for the public to find it. Thank you.
I think we can do that. Thank you for the comment. Johanna, do we have anyone online? No hands. I'll bring it back to the board. I think to summarize what I was hearing, it sounds like, because obviously we have to do something. We've got to make payroll. So I'm hearing maybe we're going to offer the resolution and direct staff to bring back a detailed plan on how we're going to address this.
Yep. On December 9th.
On December 9th.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
and I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution's been offered.
I'll second that.
Supervisor
Oops.
Owen,
Yes.
Supervisor Sabatier,
Aye.
Supervisor Pyska,
Yes.
and Supervisor Rasmussen.
Aye.
Thank you.
That concludes that item. Thank you. Two and three, we're continuing? We're doing it.
No, we'll just
We're
go
still doing, yeah.
really fast.
Okay, I'm going to call item 7.2, which is consideration of appointments of a director and alternate to the California State Association of Counties, CSAC Board of Directors for 2026. And we have Administrative Office. Are you starting that? Assistant CAO? Or Johanna's going to handle? No. Do we have Carolyn?
We can do it.
Okay.
I'll gladly handle this.
You want to handle
We'll do
Supervisor
it.
Sabatier?
I am currently the delegate for the CSAC Board of Directors. I attend all the meetings. The alternate is Supervisor Pyska. I want to make sure that it's open for anybody who does have the interest. I do not have to be. I love being a part of CSAC, but I can be a part of CSAC without being the delegate. I would love to continue, but if someone else wishes to take that next step to be more engaged with CSAC, I think it's a great way to go to really strengthen who you are as a supervisor because of the connections you make by being at the board of directors and really getting all that information. So I just want to know that the door's wide open. If anybody wants to take it, I'm happy to continue.
Supervisor Pyska, do you want to handle?
I am happy to continue as the alternate.
Okay. I do have interest at some point, but I don't want to lose the momentum. You two are in there. You want to continue. Personally, I'm comfortable for the next year leaving it as is. That's where I sit. Anything further?
No, I would have interest too, but I feel as you do, maybe next year or the following year, it would be something I would be interested in, but at this point, I'd like to leave it like it is.
Okay. With that, we'll open it to the public. Is there anyone in the room? Seeing none, Johanna, do we have anyone online? I'll bring it back to the board for action.
And real quick, I do want to say, even without being an alternate or the delegate, you can still take part in the committees, which is another great way to really engage in CSAC and to have more in-depth understanding and knowledge of what is happening within those specific topics that you join in those committees. So you don't have to be a specific officer or anything like that.
Thank you for adding that. If there's nothing further, we can take action.
Since nobody's taking action, I move to appoint myself as the, I'm going to say delegate, not director. That's, I guess it's the board of director, as the director, and Supervisor Pyska as the alternate to the California State Association of Counties Board of Directors for 2026.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We're going to move on to our 7.3 item, which is consideration of a board appointment of the 2026 Rural County Representatives of California, RCRC delegate and alternate. And then B, board appointment of the 2026 Golden State Connect Authority, Board of Directors, delegate and alternate. And C, board appointment of the 2026 Golden State Finance Authority, Board of Directors, delegate and alternate. And finally, D, board appointment to the 2026 RCRC Environmental Services Joint Powers Authority, Board of Directors, delegate and alternate. And again, I'll turn that over to one of the supervisors.
So Chair Crandall is the delegate. I've been the alternate for the last couple of years, but I am very full, and it's not something that I need to be doing. And I was actually going to nominate vice chair to be the alternate. And I did have a conversation with Chair Crandall about it. So I will speak for him. He thought it was a good idea too.
And just a question, so that as the alternate, it would just be being available if Chair Crandall was not available, is that how
I
it
mean,
works?
it's what you want to
Okay,
do. I have been pretty limited in my participation, which is why, because I'm also a NACO and CSAC, that it's spreading me a little bit thin. And there's a lot of work to do on all of these different parts of RCRC.
why,
So I would say probably the most work I've done is fill out a whole bunch of Form 700s. But attend the annual meeting, and it's what you make out of it, like all of these. But I just have been watching you this year, and I think that this is something that you're ready for.
I'd be happy to try that for the next year unless there's anything, other suggestions.
I'll add something. I think that Chair Crandall has been doing a great job in representing us at RCRC. I think he enjoys being part of RCRC. I think he's made a great camaraderie with those that are part of RCRC, which is actually why he's not here, because he actually just left to go to one of these meetings over in Shasta County. And so I don't want to speak for him, but I think he should stay right
We're
where
signing
he
him
is
up
and
again.
continue moving forward.
All right, well, unless there's nothing further, we'll open it to the public. I don't see anything in the room. Johanna? Nothing online. Bring it back to the board for action.
Did you make the motion already?
She didn't.
I haven't.
Mr. Chair, I move to nominate Supervisor Crandall and the alternates. I almost said Supervisor Pyska. I'm sorry, that's why I took it away from me. I didn't want it to be awkward like it was last time for me. And alternate Vice Chair Rasmussen for RCRC Board of Directors. I'll let you have the
second
rest.
that.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries 4-0. That was 7 point.
Okay, I'll do the rest. Yeah,
I'm
there's, because there's so many.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's getting late.
I move to appoint Chair Crandall as the delegate and Vice Chair Rasmussen as the alternate to the GSFA Board of Directors for 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0.
I move that we appoint Chair Crandall as the delegate and Vice Chair Rasmussen as the alternate to the GSCA Board of Directors for 2026.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0.
I move that we appoint Chair Crandall as the delegate and Vice Chair Rasmussen as the alternate to the ESJPA Board of Directors.
No.
No.
That would be Lars.
Oh, that's right, that's Lars,
And
sorry.
it's Supervisor Owen as the delegate currently.
Oh, that's right. Okay, good. Well, then why did you, someone else could take this one.
I move to approve, it's getting late for everybody, Delegate Supervisor Owen and the alternate Public Services Director Lars Ewing to the RCRC Environmental Services JPA.
That's right.
Do we have-
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 4-0. And I'm checking the
Mr.
agenda.
Chair,
What's the board's?
I would love to skip calendars tonight.
I was just going to ask.
I was hoping.
You guys are all good, so we're going to forego item 7.1, and we'll have long reports in December, maybe. So that's done, and with that, I believe we're moving back into closed session. So that's going to conclude our, say, Lloyd?
Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So for the closed session, your board, you may want to just make the announcements. I believe where we left off is 9.2 and 9.3. 9.4, just for purposes getting out on the record, it would be pulled to a later date.
Okay. So yes, I was just going to move into that we're concluding our regular meeting, and we're going to hear item 9.2 in closed session, which is sitting as the Board of Directors of the Lake County IHSS Public Authority Conference with Chief Negotiator Margaret Long and our County Negotiator Rachel Dillman Parsons and Amy Sheminsky, I believe it's Kelly Page, and B, employee organization, the Service Employees International Union, SEIU Local Number 2015. And then we're going to hear item 9.3, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, which is FERC proceeding number P-77, the Potter Valley Hydroelectric Project. And then as County Council stated, 9.4 is pulled from the agenda. And Sam, let me know when we're offline.